guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'll be making a body cream formulation. So this isn't just any body cream formulation. It's really cool because if you don't know, I actually sell body butters. I've had to pause for the summertime because body butters tend to melt during the summer, so obviously I had to pause. But I'm going to be taking one of my most popular body butters, cocoa vanilla, if you know, you know, and changing the body butter formulation into a cream formulation. So basically, I'll be adding ingredients into it to make it a cream, and most importantly, for it not to melt. Because here is cocoa vanilla as a body butter, and obviously you can see it's melting a little bit. So if you want to find out how the formulation turned out and my thoughts and feelings, keep on watching this video. In no particular order, to make cocoa vanilla cream version, you're going to need vanilla oil and vitamin E oil, which I blended together. You're also going to need distilled water for the water phase. The oil phase consists of unrefined shea butter, virgin coconut oil, and I also added BTMS 50. Halfway through making this, I actually revised the formula, so I included more shea butter off camera. You're also going to need cocoa caprylic caprate. This is an emollient that functions like oil but without adding that weight and greasiness into a formulation. I use VE and MF emulsifiers, which will blend the oil and water together, and the co-emulsifier is cetyl alcohol. Starting off with the oil phase, I combined the shea butter, coconut oil, and BTMS 50 into the beaker with the emulsifiers. I added the cocoa caprylic last since it absorbs easily. The water phase is just distilled water, nothing fancy. And now that both phases are ready, let's get to heating. So I prepared the double boiler to heat the oil phase to around 75 degrees Celsius. You can use a glass rod to melt the ingredients quicker. You'll also need to put your water phase to around 65 degrees. I prepared a small bowl with cool water to speed up the cool down process for my water phase because you don't want to join both phases together when they're still very hot, and I'll explain why later. But on the other hand, don't put your oil phase in this bowl because it will cool down too quickly, and I actually had to heat it up off camera. Now it's time for the fun part, which is mixing the oil and water together to make an emulsion. Honestly guys, if you don't have a stick blender, you need to be really careful when pouring. You can't pour it too fast. Also, what I was getting at before is that you can't pour it while it's too hot, or else it will curdle. Trust me, this is like the second time I had to film this because I poured it way too fast and it was still so hot, and it literally looked like it looked like cottage cheese or curdled milk. I tried to say them both together. I wish I had the pictures. Honestly, I've been formulating for a few years and I haven't got a stick blender or anything. I use an electrical whisk. So if you have that, feel free to use it. You just have to be careful as you don't want to introduce too much air whilst you are whisking. So I was stirring the cream for a long time and I was wondering, why is it still so thin? Then I realized why, and I'll tell you guys later. So moving on to the cool down phase, this is where you add your heat sensitive ingredients like the vitamin E oil and the vanilla oil. You want to wait till the cream has gone down to like 40 degrees Celsius or less before adding anything in. I'm also adding preservative 12. This is actually the second time I'm using this preservative. It's stable across pH values from 3 to 12, and it's best used in lotions, creams, and serums, but not necessarily water-based products. It is a broad spectrum preservative, which means it'll protect your product from mold, fungi, and bacteria. You also want to mix that thoroughly in. Now it's time to take the pH of your cream. So I'm preparing 1 gram of the cream and mixing that with 9 grams of distilled water. You need to take the pH of your product so that it falls in line with the pH of your skin, which is usually around 4.5 to around 6. I'm using a pH meter to measure the pH, but you can use pH strips or litmus paper strips, but bear in mind, a pH meter will give the most accurate reading. So the pH was around like 4.5, which I'm happy with. Anything lower, you might want to increase it. So it's time to transfer the cream into the container, and I'm using a funnel to do so, which can kind of be messy with an opening this small, but honestly, I don't know what else I could use. So literally guys, at the last minute, I decided to make a small batch of my normal cocoa vanilla body butter to do like a comparison. So here's some B-roll footage of me making it. As you can see, it's yellower than the cream version, and because it's a butter, it can hardly come out of the packaging. But finally, what you guys have been waiting for, it is the cream version of the cocoa vanilla. And honestly, I did like it. It actually got thicker within a few hours. It spreads easily and it feels like a normal cream, so it's literally very moisturizing. Take a look into the cocoa vanilla body butter recipe. This only has like 7 ingredients. This is my main formula. So the cocoa vanilla cream recipe has around 11 ingredients. And earlier I said that it was taking me ages to stir the cream together. And that was because I realized I didn't use xanthan gum in the cream recipe. So normally when I make my creams on my channel, I always add xanthan gum because xanthan gum thickens your creams. But I didn't use it this time. I don't know, maybe I just forgot. But you can see the comparison of the body butter to the cocoa vanilla recipe. I also added BTMS 50 because I thought it would like make the cream thicker and fluffier, but I guess it didn't really do much. Maybe if it was in a different packaging, it might. But yeah, guys, here is the formula with the percentages. So yeah, feel free to copy it and adjust it to your liking. Obviously, I couldn't do it exactly like include everything I include in the cocoa vanilla body butter in the cream, but it is like a like for like recipe. Obviously, you don't necessarily need tapioca starch for a cream because it isn't that greasy. But yeah, guys, here it is. Let's get into my final thoughts. I promise I'm back now, and I want to give you my thoughts and feelings of using this cocoa vanilla as a cream version as opposed to the body butter version. Firstly, if you've bought from me before, you know, and what I showed earlier, you know that I keep my cocoa vanilla body butter in a jar. This here ain't gonna work. This only works for the cream version. Yeah, it comes out easily in this container, so I guess that's one benefit of a cream compared to a butter in this sort of packaging. The smell is another big area that I wanted to talk about. You know, cocoa vanilla is really popular for that luscious, gorgeous chocolate cake smell. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't necessarily get that smell in the cream version. I think it's because of a few reasons. One of them is because the preservative 12 that I used in this has a scent of its own. So I think that overpowers the smell of the vanilla oil. Vanilla oil is contributing to the smell of cocoa vanilla. And like I said, the preservative 12 overpowers it. To combat that, you probably have to use more vanilla oil. And then you have to think about, I want to spend more money on essential oils to scent my products because essential oils can be expensive. So that's something you have to think about. Another thing that's important to note is when I did this cream version of cocoa vanilla, I wanted to make sure that it didn't melt. And honestly, it's only been a few days, but I could definitely tell that the emulsion hasn't melted and it's stabled. This has definitely melted in the last few days, so it's done the job with that. Back to its consistency. Right now we're in the summertime, and I definitely think like a cream version of this is really nice and hydrating for the summer. Like, I've been using this for a few days and I do like it, so it does the job. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something new. Subscribe to my channel for more videos. Bye, guys.